There is a Treasury account called the Section 415 Fund. No one voted to create it as a secrecy mechanism. It appears in no campaign platform you have ever read, and it has been paying out taxpayer money under legally enforced silence to settle accusations against sitting members of Congress since 1997. Most people, when they hear the words Congressional Slush Fund, picture something illegal, something discovered, something prosecuted. This is none of those things. The Section 415 Fund is a formal line item in the United States Treasury, established by federal statute, operating continuously for nearly 3 decades. It exists to pay settlements when members of Congress are accused of harassment, discrimination, or other workplace violations, and the names of those members are legally sealed from public view. You funded it. You will never know who it protected. The mechanism came into existence through the Congressional Accountability Act of 1995, Public Law 141. That law was sold as a reform, Congress finally agreeing to apply the same workplace protection statutes to itself that it had quietly exempted itself from for decades. The Equal Pay Act, Title VII, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act. None of them had ever applied to Capitol Hill staff. The 1995 law appeared to fix that. But buried inside it in Section 415 was a separate appropriation, a dedicated Treasury account funded by taxpayer dollars, administered not by any independent court or federal agency, but by an office Congress itself controls. The law that promised accountability contained the mechanism for erasing it. Here is who controls it now. The Office of Congressional Workplace Rights, formerly called the Office of Compliance, is the body that administers the fund and processes the claims. It was created by the same 1995 law. It is housed inside the legislative branch. Its leadership is appointed with the guidance of congressional leadership. There is no Senate confirmation process. There is no Inspector General with independent authority to compel disclosure. The body that decides whether settlements are paid, and to whom, and under what conditions, reports to the institution that is being accused. Between 1997 and 2017, that fund paid out $17,200,000, 268 settlements, and for 20 years, the public did not know any of this existed. The figure became public only in November 2017, when a whistleblower gave the number to a journalist. The office itself confirmed it. What it did not confirm, what it legally cannot confirm, are any of the names attached to those 268 settlements. Because before any accuser could receive a single dollar from that fund, they were required to sign a non-disclosure agreement. A congressional staffer, a junior aide, a constituent services employee, anyone who brought a claim and wanted it resolved was legally silenced as a condition of resolution. The money came from you. The silence was mandatory. The names were never disclosed. And here is the part that should actually worry you because it is completely legal. The structure that makes this fund untouchable is not corruption in the criminal sense. It is architecture. Congress, under the Constitution's speech or debate clause in Article 1, Section 6, has always enjoyed broad immunity from external oversight. Courts have consistently declined to intervene in internal congressional personnel matters. The fund does not violate any law because it was created by law. The NDAs do not violate the First Amendment because they are civil agreements, legally at least, and no one is being prosecuted for speech. The mechanism was engineered to exist inside every legal guardrail simultaneously. You cannot FOIA the names. Congressional records are expressly exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. You cannot compel disclosure through oversight hearings because the overseers are the institution itself. Remember, no one voted for this. The 1995 law passed on a wave of public pressure for accountability, and this provision moved through inside it, unexamined. Reform bills were introduced after 2017. Most died in committee. The few that cleared one chamber never cleared the other, because the people with the most power to eliminate the secrecy are the same people whose names the secrecy protects. That is not an accident. That is the defining feature of every structural lock. The cost of transparency falls on the people who hold the keys. Think about what that means for every institution you interact with, every regulatory agency, every professional licensing board, every oversight body created by the entity it was meant to oversee. The Section 415 fund is not an anomaly, it is a template. When a powerful institution designs its own accountability mechanism, the mechanism will be optimized to protect the institution. This is not cynicism. This is the documented outcome in federal statute over 27 years, confirmed by a number: $17 million, 268 settlements, 0 public names. The transparency you were promised by the reform was the cover for the secrecy inside it. So here is the question no one has answered. If 268 settlements were paid and sealed in a building where every promotion, every committee assignment, every career trajectory runs through personal relationships with members of Congress, how many people stayed silent without ever filing a claim at all? The fund tells you what was reported and resolved. It tells you nothing about what was never reported, because the people who would report it work for the people who control the fund. That number has no floor, and no law requires anyone to count it.